The girl once told a boy that she found him fascinating because he had the perfect balance of freakiness, reason, honesty, rather than aimless chaos. While the boy took it as an insult, she insisted it was a compliment. She then asked if he desired power. Hesitant at first, he admitted he couldn't refuse such a temptation. When she rephrased, asking if he wanted more magic, his enthusiastic yes revealed his eagerness. The boy suddenly awoke to a maid gently caring for him. He realized he had been asleep at a table. Confused, he noticed he was at an extravagant party. The last thing he remembered was having a drink after work. Unsure of his surroundings, he stumbled toward a mirror. What he saw made him scream as he suddenly turned into a child. His outburst drew the attention of the guests, and a man reminded him that while he was the fifth son, he was still part of the esteemed Hamilton family and should behave accordingly. The maid beside him mentioned the Earl was in good spirits because after having many sons, he had finally been blessed with a daughter. She urged Liam to enjoy his sister's celebration. Bewildered, Liam questioned if this was all a dream. But when he awoke again in the same young body, he realized it wasn't. The maid knocked on his door, bringing him clothes. While being dressed, Liam pieced together that he was in the body of Liam Hamilton, the fifth son of the Earl. Yesterday's event was a celebration for the Earl's newborn daughter. However, Liam had no idea why he was in this situation. After dressing, he stepped out onto a balcony and marveled at the vast estate. The maid informed him that all the land he saw belonged to the Hamilton family. Liam soon met Bruno, the fourth son, who spoke of the family's future. Bruno wanted their sister to marry into royalty to secure the Hamilton standing, while their father and eldest brother, Albrecht, were working hard to keep the family from losing their noble status. Liam learned that noble families were required to achieve something noteworthy every 3 generations to maintain their position, and the Hamiltons were on the verge of being stripped of theirs. And so Bruno warned his younger brother to start thinking about the future, even though he was only 12 years old. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a tutor, announcing it was time for magic lessons. Liam, excited, eagerly asked if magic was part of their studies. Bruno found his enthusiasm odd, but mentioned the family had grimoires in their library. He also reminded Liam not to get his hopes up, as only 1 in 100 people had a magical affinity. Nonetheless, the tutor encouraged them to learn the basics. After the lesson, Liam rushed to the maid and asked to see the grimoires. She took him to a vast library where he eagerly explored the shelves. Selecting a beginner's fire magic grimoire, he studied it and managed to conjure a small flame on his fingertip. The maid praised him, amazed at his rare talent. Filled with excitement, Liam asked his father for permission to take more books from the library. But his father acted like he wasn't even there and granted his request without much thought. Returning to his room, Liam immersed himself in his studies. He quickly grasped the flame cutter spell and within a month could perform it without the grimoire. He demonstrated this to Bruno, who was astonished by his rapid progress. Normally, it took a year for someone to achieve such results. Bruno, curious, examined the grimoire for hidden secrets, but found nothing unusual. Realizing Liam had a natural talent for magic, Bruno advised him to be careful not to draw Albrecht's curiosity. Having mastered the fire spells, Liam eagerly moved on to ice magic. But one day, the Earl summoned him to demonstrate his skills. Liam showcased both fire and ice spells without the use of books, impressing his father, who finally seemed pleased with him. The Earl promised him access to any grimoire he wanted. However, the conversation was interrupted by urgent business, leaving Liam frustrated but determined to continue his magical studies. Later, Liam encountered a man who asked about his identity. However, upon learning that Liam was a Hamilton, the man encouraged him to follow his own path. The stranger, noticing Liam's grimoire, explained that constant practice was the key to mastering magic but hinted at a faster way. Curious, Liam watched as the man conjured a different element on each of his fingers, igniting a new spark of ambition within the boy. The boy was captivated and asked how it was possible to wield magic in such a unique way. So the mysterious man instructed Liam to draw a circle on the ground with his right hand and a square with his left simultaneously. When Liam performed the task flawlessly, the stranger revealed that this coordination was the essence of what he wanted to teach. He then challenged Liam to use 2 different spells at the same time. Concentrating, Liam conjured Flame Cutter with his right hand and a Fireball with his left. When he released both simultaneously, even the man was impressed. This rare technique, called Mystic, could only be mastered by 1 in a million. The man then raised the stakes, asking Liam to summon 3 spells simultaneously. Liam attempted Flame Cutter, Fireball, and Boiling Ground, but the spells fizzled out quickly. Thinking he failed, he was surprised when the man declared it a success. The only thing missing was sufficient magical energy, as the technique consumed a vast amount. To help Liam control his magic, the man drew prime members on the ground, explaining that this method worked only with primes. He warned Liam that once he reached the 4th simultaneous spell, challenges would arise as it corresponded to the number 7. Similarly, higher primes like 13 and 17 would create significant hurdles. Demonstrating his own skill, the man cast 13 spells at once and declared that to surpass his current limit of 16 would require incredible magical reserves. Impressed by Liam's progress and his age of only 12, the man predicted a bright future for him, emphasizing that youth and the willingness to learn were powerful weapons. As a reward, he handed Liam a magical ring called Magipedia, which contained hundreds of grimoires. When Liam slipped it on, he felt a rush of over 300 spells flooding his mind. Overcome with excitement, he quickly tested a wind spell. However, when he turned to thank his teacher, the man had vanished. Moments later, the maid arrived, scolding Liam for wandering so far because a suspicious figure had been spotted in Hamilton territory. She then handed him a beginner's conjuring grimoire on behalf of the Earl and urged him to return to the mansion soon. As the maid left, the teacher reappeared, explaining he'd hidden himself with an invisibility spell. Knowing he couldn't stay long, he decided to teach Liam one final lesson. He instructed Liam to open the grimoire and use the ring to conjure a creature. Liam turned to the page featuring a fire salamander and summoned it. The creature emerged briefly before vanishing into the grimoire. The man explained that the Magipedia absorbed the contents of books, allowing Liam to wield their spells without carrying them physically. Though Liam hesitated to accept such a powerful item, the teacher assured him it was merely a convenience, not a treasure. Liam practiced summoning additional creatures before realizing the man had disappeared again, leaving behind a message telling him to continue studying magic and that they'll meet again someday. He also told Liam to not tell anyone about him. Despite their short time together and never learning the man's name, Liam regarded him as his master. A month later, Liam's magical skills had advanced significantly. Bruno visited him in the forest and noticed that Liam had created white coal which burned hotter, produced no smoke, and lasted longer than regular coal. Liam had also crafted crystals that restored magical energy. Impressed by his brother's progress, Bruno praised him, confident that Liam could thrive independently. Bruno revealed his plan to marry a capable woman to secure his future and shared the dark history of their father's desperation. The Earl, hoping for a daughter to secure a royal marriage, was devastated when Liam was born. In his despair, the Earl sent 1,000 men to slay a powerful monster sealed in the land. The campaign ended in disaster, with 90% of the forces lost, leaving the Hamiltons on the brink of ruin. Bruno urged Liam to prepare for a life outside the Hamilton estate. Taking his brother's advice, Liam began selling his crafted items, earning enough to support himself. One day, while eating ramen, he noticed its popularity and devised a plan. Using magic, he created a recipe for instant ramen, dry noodles mixed with sauce, boiled with hot water. Excited to sell his invention, Liam approached a merchant only to learn that Albrecht, the eldest Hamilton's son, had forbidden any business without his approval. Frustrated but determined, Liam considered leaving the estate to pursue his ambitions. Liam conjured a magical inventory to store his resources and attempted a self-summoning spell, successfully creating a clone of himself. He sent the clone beyond the Hamilton lands to sell his goods. The inventory allowed both versions of Liam to access shared resources, with the original producing items while the clones sold them. This arrangement ensured Liam could operate outside his family's restrictions. Confident in his plan, Liam believed his independence was now within reach. Liam found his duplicate's ability to mimic his spells invaluable for magic practice, effectively doubling the damage of his attacks. During one session, his older brother Albrecht arrived to check on Liam's progress. Albrecht asked Liam what he aspired to be when he grew up. Sensing potential trouble, Liam quickly clarified that he had no intention of taking the eldest position. Instead, he expressed his desire to become independent and secure a job that would ensure he could eat well. Albrecht decided to introduce Liam to the Hunters Guild. Upon arrival, the hunters mocked Liam for being a child. Ignoring their jeers, Liam approached the receptionist, who recognized him as Albrecht's younger brother. The receptionist explained that Liam needed to pass a test to join the guild, though his status would make it somewhat easier. Asked to demonstrate a mastered spell, Liam admitted he didn't know any incantations. The receptionist pulled him to attack directly. Despite his illusion magic weakening the spell, Liam's attack left everyone stunned due to its unusual nature. After a brief hesitation from the test supervisor, Liam was granted a B-rank license. As he left, an energetic girl named Asuna approached, recognizing him as a Hamilton. She invited him to join her for group hunts, which Liam accepted, drawn to her lively personality. They skipped taking a mission and headed out. Asuna explained that B-rank hunters typically hunted wild creatures like wolves, while A-ranks handled formal jobs. However, they were soon outnumbered by wolves, and Asuna realized they were in trouble. Liam used his gnome magic to summon creatures that swelled the wolves' jaws shut, immobilizing them. With the wolves incapacitated, Asuna finished the fight. Back at the guild, the pair impressed the hunters with their haul of 42 wolves, earning them a job offer from the guild chief. The task was to defeat a giant caterpillar before an important figure's arrival. On the way, Liam explained that monsters like the caterpillar contained magic stones, granting them powers far beyond those of ordinary beasts. Despite their efforts, none of their attacks could pierce the caterpillar's armor, and they were forced to retreat, frustrated and exhausted. Asuna muttered in irritation that a meteor should just crush the creature. Inspired by her comment, Liam devised a plan. In their next encounter, Asuna distracted the monster while Liam retrieved a massive boulder from his item box and dropped it on the caterpillar, killing it and shocking everyone, including Asuna. When they returned to the guild, it caused a stir by bringing back not one but 2 caterpillar carcasses. Liam explained that he had used his enemy search spell to locate the second one. Impressed by their achievement, the guild chief rewarded them with 5 times the original payment. A few days later, Albrecht visited Liam, commending his performance and saying he had been right to recommend him to the guild. After Albrecht left, Asuna admitted she disliked his attitude, while Liam silently noted his brother's dismissive behavior toward her family. Pushing those thoughts aside, they prepared to meet an important guest, the reason they had cleared the caterpillars. When the man arrived, Asuna grew eager, hoping this was her chance to rise in rank. The man showed a particular interest in Liam, requesting a private meeting. In the conversation, the man introduced himself as James Stanley and was surprised to learn that Liam was the son of Charles Hamilton. He then questioned Liam about his connection to Raymond. Liam was puzzled when the old man, James Stanley, explained that the ring Liam was wearing belonged to Raymond. He wanted to know if Liam had killed the mage and stolen it. Distressed by the accusation, Liam stood up and firmly declared that the ring had been a gift from his master. James chuckled, remarking that it was typical of Raymond to land in trouble yet still find it dissipable. He then instructed Simon, his butler, to remain still and ordered Liam to demonstrate his strongest spell on him. Although taken aback by the unusual request, Liam complied. Simon raised a magical shield and Liam focused on his incantations. He had discovered that chanting specific names temporarily amplified his mana, so he chose Amelia, and Claudia. After chanting, he fired 11 magical missiles, with the last one shattering Simon's shield and striking him. Impressed, James announced that he would knight Liam, granting him independence, leaving Liam speechless. James explained there wasn't much else for Liam to do, the freedom from his older brother should suffice. He also hinted that the Earl might have mixed feelings, likely wanting to use Liam's talents for the family's benefit. Aware of this, Liam felt uneasy. James reassured him that his accomplishments would still reflect positively on the Hamilton name. The old man then joked about Raymond's penchant for pranks, asking if Liam had fallen for any. Liam recalled a time when Raymond instructed the item box to absorb an entire lake. Among the collected items, Liam found a waterproof letter. It revealed that if Liam was reading it, he had mastered the item box since it couldn't absorb gold bars. The letter mentioned that Raymond had scattered 100 kilograms of gold particles in the lake as a graduation test. Initially, Liam believed this was because Raymond had created the gold himself, but James suggested it was a mere distraction, with the true gift hidden nearby. Determined, Liam used the item box to absorb the lake again, this time replenishing it only with the gold particles. The gold activated a magical circle, revealing a hidden underground passage. Inside, Liam discovered a book beside another letter from Raymond. "This is your true graduation gift, a grimoire of advanced spells. I couldn't use it, but I hope you can." Opening the book titled Otherworld, Liam struggled all day to master a spell from it. As night fell, he summoned a low-level light spirit as a lamp, determined to perfect the spell by carefully following the grimoire's steps. Returning to the secret passage later, Liam successfully summoned a portal using Otherworld magic. Stepping through, he found himself in a pure white cubicle and realized the spell created a pocket dimension. Its size depended on the caster's skill and mana. Only the summoner could enter, but once mastered, the space could store items or house living beings. Grateful, Liam silently thanked his master. A month later, while battling a giant frog with Asuna, Liam realized that fire spells were ineffective. He quickly pulled Asuna into the portal to shield them from the frog's electric attack. After waiting for the surge to subside, they launched a combined attack and defeated the monster. Returning to the guild with a magical stone from the frog, they impressed the branch chief. However, Asuna felt overshadowed by Liam's growing power and feared being left behind. The chief suggested she become Liam's servant to evolve her familiar skill. Though hesitant, Liam agreed and Asuna placed her full trust in him. The contract granted her a special ability, Speedster. To test her new skill, Asuna brought Liam to veteran hunter Jody, who demonstrated her own ability by regenerating an injured man's arm. Days later, James Stanley informed Liam that Princess Scarlet wanted to meet him, having been impressed by his feats. However, Liam declined to showcase his familiars, saying they weren't performers for entertainment. Unbeknownst to him, Princess Scarlet had disguised herself as a maid and was curious if Liam would still refuse her in person. This then marks the end of today's anime recap. If you enjoyed the video and want more of it, please support the channel by leaving a like and subscribe. Let's help us reach our current goal of 20,000 subscribers.